Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Thursday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, our Chat Daddy Sims, and I'm glad to be here with you guys on a beautiful Thursday evening here in the Chicagoland area. So glad that you guys are here with us this evening. I have another action-packed show planned for your viewing and listening pleasure this evening. If you are having difficulties hearing the show, or if my sound is distorted, just kind of shoot me a box in the messenger box, and that way I'm able to track that and report it back to our provider. But I have been on with our provider, which is StreamYard, to talk to them about the quality of the show. A lot of us have been thinking it was our internet connections, but it could be the platform that we're on, and it's so many people on it now. But please forgive any technical difficulties. All right, so coming up on tonight's show, I have an amazing guest co-host. She is a public relations practitioner of over 20 years. She's an activist. She's also a socialite. So, honey, she likes martinis and pouring the tea. And on this show, that's what we love more than anything. And then guess what? She has a recent college graduate who has now ventured into the public relations field following her mom's footsteps. And she'll be here tonight to talk to us about Black is King. As you guys all know, it was a huge hit on Disney Plus this past weekend. All over social media, everybody was talking about Black is King, which is Beyonce's latest brainchild, as we would say, and it is absolutely phenomenal. 90 minutes of just beauty. Just the colors are so vibrant. Everything, you'll love it. So she'll be here tonight as a millennial to talk to us about why Beyonce is such a phenomenon and why Black is King is something that everyone should check out. Okay, this weekend would be a perfect time. Also, it's Relationship Thursday, and I got a mama in the house, I got a millennial in the house, and I'm in the house. So guess what? I'm sure we can talk about something that pertains to relationships. So I'm just glad to have these ladies here. All right, thank you so much for letting me know that the audio is just a little choppy. I have no idea really what's going on with it, but I appreciate you guys so very much. Let me introduce our co-host to you this evening. As I said before, she's a 20-plus year public relations practitioner. She's an advocate, and she's a social. Like, she has a wonderful column, blog, I guess you would say. You know, when you're a socialite, wherever she puts it, people gravitate towards it. It's entitled "A Cat About Town." Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My very special guest co-host tonight, Miss Katrina Waddy, better known as A Cat About Town. What up, cat baby? What up? What up? Hey, darling. You look good, baby.
Thank
you. How you feel?
Right. I feel great.
You look great. Happy summer. I don't know if it's okay to wish people like happy COVID. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, you know, we've been stuck in the house for so long, and when you do see somebody and they look good, you want to be like, well, happy COVID season, I guess, you know. But yes, happy surviving. So do me a favor, introduce yourself to my audience, tell them who you are, a little bit about your background, and then you and I got a lot to talk about tonight.
Yes, we do. Well, I am so happy to be here. My name is Katrina Waddy, and I have a social media alter ego called A Cat About Town, and mainly because before COVID, I was able to go to as many galas, festivals, special events as I could, and, you know, kind of showcase, to me, more African Americans doing positive things, kind of bringing back those old society pages that used to be real prevalent back in the day, and just kind of putting a new modern day spin on those by going out and showing us in our prime, showing us dressed up and looking nice and gathering together for great causes. So, of course, that's changed a little bit now with the COVID, but, you know, we're still happy to just be in the land of the living and in the land of, you know, celebrating life and whatever the future holds for all of us.
Yes, you know what? I couldn't agree with you more. And I was so excited when you said you would be the co-host this evening, because, you know, if nothing else, I want to share positivity with people. I want to share hope with people and love. And I said, you know what? Who better than Kat to be a guest co-host? And then wait a minute. Then you said, well, you know, the oldest baby in the kitty cat lounge would love to be on as well. And I said, get out of here. You mean to tell me I'm getting a mama-daughter combination tonight? Tell us all about your amazing daughter. And we're so proud of her. She's a 2020 graduate.
Yes, she just graduated from Howard University from their School of Communications. Yes, HBCU. And she's got a very interesting story too. You know, quite different from my own being an HBCU graduate. You know, she's fought through some things, and you know, and has had a different type of experience at an HBCU than what I had. And you know, of course, Howard is one of the leading HBCUs in the nation. So you know, there's a certain level of expertise and certain experiences that she was able to get as a communications major. She has had a chance to intern at some of the leading PR firms. She worked at Universal for an internship last summer or sorry for that. And she's great. She's working for an African-American owned communications firm, Rudd Resources, right now.
Look, they're my people. Look, they're my people. I like them. I love the Rudds. I do.
Who doesn't love the Rudds?
I love the Rudds. Look, shout out to the Rudds, baby.
Yes. Kim and Dave, yes. So it's just nice to kind of see the circle, you know, extending, and just even us being able to do what other cultures seem to do so quite naturally, which is kind of hire their own and look out for their own and help their own make connections so that they can kind of further their own progression and growth in their professions or in life as a whole. So happy to see her spreading her wings in PR. Very
good. Well, I'm excited that she's going to join us later. I am a fan of Beyonce, but I'm not, you know, like the Beehive folks. Them Beehive folks, it's almost like a religious cult.
Yes, it is. Yes,
right.
It is.
So I'm curious to hear what the millennial will have to say about Beyonce. And you know, I don't know. I love her, but I don't understand all of the behind the scenes stuff. So I'm excited to talk to someone who can explain it all to us.
I think she'll be pretty helpful.
Okay, very good. Well, I want to get into the daily COVID-19 update numbers for the state of Illinois. For the second time in a week, Illinois health officials have reported new daily counts of coronavirus cases that are hovering just under 2,000. The Illinois Department of Public Health on Thursday reported we had 1,953 new known cases of COVID-19 here in the state, and that's within a 24-hour period, you all, the last 24 hours. Unfortunately, we've had 21 additional fatalities of this highly contagious illness. Today's number is the highest daily number count since the end of May. And it was also announced today that Indiana, who are our cousins right over there to the left, where we go get cheap gas and narcotics and all that. Yes, absolutely. Their numbers are on the rise again.
Oh, wow.
And then, Kat, as you know, every now and then I sneak over to Indiana and do a little shopping. About 3 weeks ago, early on a Sunday morning, I thought I would tootle over there and get my little shop on. Honey, I was the only person that had a mask on in the damn store.
Really?
They weren't requiring it. Remember, the governor just made them start doing it last Monday. So 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, Ellie Mae, Jeff Reen, all of them was just... They was doing the Beverly Hillbillies stomp down over there. No mask. And so, you know, here we are with the debate again about to wear a mask, not wear a mask. You know, Dr. Fauci, other people have said that, you know, wearing a mask will help to, you know, not spread this virus. What is your take on all of this?
You know, it's funny we're talking about this on, I'm going to say on, and I'm looking at my phone because I'm trying to make sure I share this video too. But Dr. Arwady, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, Cook County Public Health Commissioner, she did a press conference on Tuesday, and Tuesday was such an interesting day for me because it was the first anniversary of the death of a good friend of ours, Greg Whitehead.
Yeah.
And so I was getting prepared to go do a little celebrating, you know, with his event. And Dr. Arwady was talking about these numbers going up. And so, you know, we were I think the city was hoping to keep them under 200 a day. And I think we've gotten into like the 290s of new cases per day. Yes. And she talked about how we're letting our guards down by going to events, and I'm guilty of it, going to events where we are outdoors, you know, we are slightly social distancing, but I'm quick to pull my mask down and take a quick picture, a selfie.
Right. Yeah.
And I just sat there and I was like, oh my God, you know, I just cried for a minute, like, my God, I think we've gotten used to seeing each other wearing masks. We've gotten used to, you know, maybe even seeing face shields and all that, but we probably have gotten a little lax with thinking that, oh, it's okay. I know Art. I'm just over Art's house real quick for a barbecue. Oh, I know so-and-so. I'm just at their house. I'm just taking a quick picture. And I just think we have to just keep our diligence up with you know, just making sure that we stay masked up. I mean, that's the least we can do is make sure that we keep a mask on, a face shield. I'm seeing some cuter ones coming out now. And, you know, that's the least we can do is make sure that not only that we prevent ourselves from maybe catching it at an event, but also from bringing it home, you know, prevent ourselves from bringing it home. And that's what stuck out to me with Dr. Awadi's comments the other day. Like, wow, I could be at an event taking a quick selfie, and then I come back home and share it with my daughters. And that, like, I would, yeah. So you know how horrible we would all feel knowing that we did something.
Well, exactly. Just, you know, over this past weekend, I went to a really wonderful event. And, you know, again, a celebrity type of event. And, you know, as you said, you don't want to smile, you know, with the mask on. Where something said to me, start putting that mask back on. Go on and take those pictures. That's why I get really nice masks to coordinate with my outfit, whatever the case may be. And I thought about that. I said, and here's the deal. This is just not a white people thing. This is not a thing. This is all people thing. But then another thing, now, Kat, I was out today over in the Evergreen Park area, and there was a gentleman, my good friend and I were laughing about this, and we really wanted to just hand him another paper mask. He had this mask on so long that, I kid you not, the strings of his mask was like, you get what I'm saying? I mean, just the nastiness around the mask. And I want to say, what is the effectiveness if you are not taking these masks out, if you're not washing your mask, all of that? Right.
Yeah. And there's so many mask giveaways, you know, like I wish I'd been with you when you saw that gentleman, because not only do I keep, you know, I probably got about 10 of them here, but I keep a few of them in my car too, you know, even for homeless folks sometimes too. But there's so many mask giveaways now that I worry sometimes that we again have gotten comfortable and lax that, oh, you know, it's almost like COVID testing. Oh, you can go get tested anywhere, you know. So I think folks are just kind of forgetting that if you got that one mask, that's great, but you know, either wash it or you know, it's no crime now in having 10 masks. You know, if you got 5 or 10 available to you, go ahead and take those and interchange them as you know, as often as you can.
Absolutely. And keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, most places nowadays do have the disposable masks in boxes of 50, boxes of 25, places like, you know, your big box stores like Sam's Club, Costco, your drugstore.
Dollar Tree.
That's right. If you guys can buy a pack of cigarettes, you can buy yourself some masks. Also, the good old-fashioned bandana back in the day. Remember, we used to have the bandana. You could take that bandana and make your mask, whatever you need to do.
I forgot mine one day, and I was like, I had my scarf on my head. I said, here we go. All right.
There you go. Right. There you go. Right. There you go. Well, I do want to remind everyone to please wear your mask. Here's my new mask. It says, hello, my name is Chat Daddy. It does. We want to remind everybody to please wash your hands, sanitize as much as you possibly can. Make sure you social distance. That's 6 feet back from people. A lot of you all have a lot of problems with social distancing. It's okay. Just get back a little bit and give everybody some space. And then just be very careful. I know there are people, I've seen so many videos on social media where people are out at events and they do want to hug and high five, and we're loving people. We're very loving people, but you don't know who's carrying the virus, and that's what we have to be very careful of, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. And I know when I went to a march a little earlier in the summer, you know, we talked about, you know, just at least having an arm distance. If you can have, you know, at least your arm distance, you know, front, back, sides of you. That's kind of, I mean, it's not quite 6 feet, but it is enough, you know, it's enough to have a good appropriate amount of social distancing. Just even doing this, you know.
Yes, yes, absolutely. All right. Well, here's the deal. The
This is
number,
water.
yeah, that's okay, darling. Look, we do everything on this show. The 7-day statewide average of positivity rate now stands at 4%. And this is kind of what you were talking about with Dr. Arwadi. It was 2.6% a month earlier. So now, what does that say to you? Those numbers are going back up. They're going back up. Yep.
But there's always been a talk about a resurgence. I hope that's right. Either a surge or resurgence of this coming up anyway around the fall, anyway. So I don't know if this is the trend that's getting us pointing us in that direction, or if we're getting ahead of the trend because we're already, starting to get a little bit too lax. But I think, to some extent we end up preaching to the choir, but I think that if people are better about, wearing their masks, and I just saw some really cute face shields. I think I left mine in the back, but even the face shield, I'm getting ready to get into the face shield. So at least you can see the facial expressions of people as you're talking to them a little bit,
Right. Well, I'm getting ready to invest in the mask with the drinking hole in it. So I'm able to, sip today somebody gifted me the hello, my name is Chat Daddy Man. So when I go out places, people know it's me. But this is, Kat, who thought that we would even be living our life like this? The last time you and I were together, we were in a radio studio together. We were talking about 2020 gonna be the year that we gonna knock them dead. We gonna, just do some epic things. And honey, we have been shuttered in place and petrified because of a pandemic.
But you know what, though, and we'll talk about this probably as we go along. But I do think on a bright note, because you can sometimes find yourself being, a lot of us were kind of, we're nervous, scared, anxious, and then we kind of settled into okay, this is the new normal. And then after a while, you kind of find yourself going like, oh my God, what the hell? Are these for real, the for real last days? Is this it? So what's the point of graduating from college? What's the point of getting a raise on your job if these are the last days? But I think there's an opportunity that the COVID presents us with, which is really just trying to kind of make that connection with your maker, before you get a chance to see them, and just to try to stay in his presence a little bit more too.
Yes. Well, for all of you all that are fans of the lakefront and are fans of the restaurants that are located along I am too, that are located along the beach side, the Chicago Park District has announced that restaurants and concessions east of Lakeshore Drive are now allowed to reopen. Yes, I know. Beachside establishments must adhere to the same COVID-19 safety guidelines as pertain to other businesses and restaurants in the city. The Park District is working with each concession on its health and safety plans. And here's the deal. You guys will not be able to dine in. Everything will be to go. So Kat, here's where I'm confused with all of that. Our beach is closed. Get it? Our beach, you can't go sit in the sand and eat that hot dog, and you know what I'm saying? So I get it. I want our, concessions and restaurants along the beach to be open, but like, why would people even enjoy this? Because even on the trails, you can't sit. You've got to keep moving. So am I getting a hot dog and bringing it back to my car? Or
Maybe in some cases, I think, or look, hey, maybe that's a good way for you to get your exercise. You're eating that hot dog or that hamburger, and you're gonna keep on walking with it, okay? So you're gonna chew and you're gonna step, So
and look, if I drop an onion, I'm gonna pass out. Look, right? I'm gonna be like, oh, I gotta sit down. I done dropped the onion. Right? Yes, right.
Yeah, but I mean, the unfortunate thing right now is that this is the situation that it's in, and so it's up to you how you're going to make the best of it. So I'm so grateful to live right along the lakefront, to be able to walk my dog every morning, and enjoy this lakefront. But do I have to keep it moving? I sure do. Would I like to stick my feet in the sand a little bit and all that? But I'm not supposed to do that. I might sneak and do it, but I'm not supposed to do that. So let's keep it going. So at this point, let's just let's be okay with making some concessions now to be able to live and have more concessions later,
Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you. Look, we on the same team, boo. We on the. I just couldn't imagine think about the number of people who have perished from this.
Oh my God.
The number of personal friends we've had who have almost come to death, from this virus. I've had a lady on the show to explain her horrific and sad situation of, having COVID-19, and she's still experiencing a lot of, problems from it. So, it just makes me wonder about everybody's overall well-being. And our former First Lady, Michelle Obama, in her second episode of her podcast, she revealed that she is suffering from low-grade depression. And the reason being the pandemic, race relations in the U.S., political strife surrounding it all. And here we have a woman who was in the highest position in the country, revered by many, my dear. We all love and adore our former First Lady, and many of us knew her before she went on to become First Lady. But anytime a woman that powerful can let you know that she is suffering with low-grade depression, imagine what somebody like me and you or anybody else would be going through.
Exactly. And that's, you and I were talking about this a little earlier. And that, like I said, I used the example of on Tuesday listening to Dr. Awadi's press conference. And for a minute, I was shocked into reality of, like I said, I think I just kind of got comfortable. Like, okay, you have your home, and I'm sure different people's homes are either more spacious, more luxurious than my mere home, here. But you kind of get used to, okay, this is the way we're gonna live life now. I can go walk my dog. I still got my job. Okay, everything is okay. And then you kind of say, "Dang, wait a minute. You mean to tell me the numbers are going up? Like, oh wow, I was just getting used to going to a couple of outdoor parties and things like that, and just thinking, okay, I might kind of be getting back to no, we're not." And for a minute, I was having a conversation with my guy Tuesday night. I was in a little bit of a funk, and some of my close girlfriends know too. I said, I'm sorry, and then I heard of a death of a close friend. That's a whole nother story. Her husband of less than 2 years passed away suddenly. I don't think it was necessarily COVID related, but it just the magnitude of all that just kind of came down on me. And I really found myself feeling kind of down, the depression is basically just feeling low in spirit, but I felt very low in spirit. And I'm the biggest cheerleader, rah-rah person all the time. The grass is, it's all going to still the silver lining and all that. But Tuesday, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I understand. I haven't read the details of the First Lady's comments, but I understand exactly what she means. This is a little low-grade depression where you just like, what is all this for? What are we doing? And so pulling myself out of that. But I totally understand what she was talking about.
Sure, because think about anyone who has school-age children right now. And if your powers to be are saying that your children must go back into a building this fall and learn, and the numbers are steadily going up, and keep in mind, going back to school is a few weeks from now. By the way, we want to remind everyone that this weekend is the Bud Billiken Day weekend. It is not a parade this year, you all. Please, it is not. ABC 7 Chicago will be airing clips and memories of some of the Bud Billiken parades throughout the year. Do not go out to Washington Park, y'all, thinking it's a parade Saturday. It is not. It'll be back next year. Stay in the house, watch it on ABC 7 Chicago. But no, so, I'll get back to what I was saying. We have so many people, the school situation, the unemployment rate is still rising. A recent study that the Census Bureau did, this was a survey, found out that 1 in 3 Americans are reporting some signs of depression or anxiety, more than 3 times the rate when the survey was conducted in 2019. And over a year's time, 3 times more people are saying they're either depressed or have anxiety. Right.
Yes. And if you think about it too, are some of us, and I don't know if this is what the First Lady was talking about, my cousin saying, hi, but you also think about, you kind of almost feel a little bit of like survivor's remorse or survivor's guilt. I think it's survivor's guilt, where you're like, you almost feel guilty that everything's okay over here. I got a roof over my head. I got food in the refrigerator. I got money in the bank. I'm saving money because I'm, not having to do the things that I normally used to have to do. Right. And you almost feel like, dang, but such and such just lost their job. But so and so just lost their son, so and so just lost, and you just and it can kind of send you into a like it can put you in a little bit of a funk because you almost feel guilty that everything is okay for you, you know, and so all that leads into that depression as well. You know, so you're thankful to God that everything is okay, but you're almost like, dead, but not for these people. And I'm not talking about just people, homeless people in the street. I'm talking about not for my friend who I used to work with, not for my son, you know, my guy that I used to know from down back in the day. People are losing their jobs, you know.
Yeah. Yes.
I joke, but I say, you know, it's a funny different times when white agencies are closing down and my black friends agency is doing good. Like, Lord.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
you know, I belong to 4 different job search apps, you know, where you put in what you're looking for, what your qualifications are. And, you know, January, February, every day I was getting an email from them, update your resume. Here are some key words you could use. Honey, after March 20th, I've only heard from one of them apps. And whatever job they send me is some part-time job, and they specify in the description of the job college graduate preferred. And what they mean is they would want to get somebody, no, you know, offense against your daughter, but
somebody, of course.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Somebody like that. So it's tough out here. So that's why people's anxiety and depression is so high. You know?
Yes. Yep. And when you look at the people who have typically survived or been in a position of affluence and all that, you know, and then not, you know, most of us are probably living what I call lower middle class lifestyles. You know,
Right.
hey, you got, you know, we save a little bit of money after a check. You know, we can go on vacation, little things like that. But you know, you look at folks who have been doing better than that, and even some of those folks have lost their job, and it's like, oh, that's scary. You know, that it's a very it's that's why I say you really have to take this time to really connect with your maker, you know, whatever the God is that you serve, that you believe in. This is really a good time to do that, because if you're out of his presence, little things like a little bit of state of depression, a little bit of survivor's, you know, guilt, a little bit of can take over. You look up and you're like, oh my God, like my daughter was telling me about somebody who killed themselves at the beginning of this COVID. And I know we know a lot more of these numbers, but like, man, so I'm like, we just got to stay connected. We got to stay connected. You know,
I agree with you 100%. Well, Chicago, we want to send our thoughts and prayers out to everyone in Beirut, Lebanon. Last night we sent our thoughts and prayers. Tonight we want to continue to send our thoughts and prayers. More and more bodies are being found. The death toll is steadily rising. Still a lot of destruction. Kat, I was talking to somebody and I was reading something that said, imagine that explosion happened at Navy Pier.
Ooh.
Do you know how far the effects of that explosion would go in Chicago? It would go basically, since we're considered Southsiders, it would go from Navy Pier all the way out to Hickory Hills. That's how far of that explosion was. So imagine how many people, and we're talking about, you know, north, west, and northwest. That's how far. But for us, it would register all the way as far out as Hickory Hills, Illinois. Just the impact of an explosion of that type. So we do want to send our thoughts and prayers to everyone in Beirut, Lebanon. We really do. Yes. Definitely. So real quick, before we move on to our next thing, yesterday they announced that City of Chicago will be doing remote learning. And so now the faculty and staff at the city colleges of Chicago are threatening to go on strike. This will be their first strike in more than a decade if the administration does not allow the employees to work from home when fall classes begin in late August. Now, you don't have any school-age babies, but you continue learning, the college students, all of that. How are you gripping with all of this? Are you sending anybody off to school this year?
Well, so Dana, who will be joining us a little bit, she's a Howard grad, but my youngest kid, and I just have 2 daughters, but my youngest, she is a senior at the University of Michigan. And I just took her back to school last Friday, about a week ago.
So you did take her back?
Oh, yeah. I mean, she wanted to go back. I mean, they are doing a lot more virtual and remote, classes and things like that. I think she wanted to at least go back and be in her apartment and, have the accoutrements that, that enhance her learning experience, her desk, her own, her room and things like that. But You know, it was really her decision. I'm like, do you feel comfortable? And she's very good about being masked up and making sure that her roommates, everybody had to take their COVID test before we moved in, and you know, temperature checks and things like that. But it is, I mean, I don't feel as, I don't want to say like this, I don't feel as concerned about my adult child, because I feel like, you know, she's an adult, she's gonna, you know, keep her mask on and things like that. But I couldn't imagine somebody having, you know, kids fourth grade and below, little kids want to hug each other. They haven't seen each other all summer. They, you know, oh, like somebody said, you know, oh, you got a Spider-Man mask. Oh, I have a Barbie mask. Let's trade, you know. And you know, kids don't know. And then coming back and seeing my teacher with the mask on, kids have probably gotten a little more acclimated to this mask wearing, you know, over the past few months. But still, I'm still a kid. I want to take off your mask. And then, you know, kids like to sneeze and cough and things like that. And I mean, before COVID, I was already like, oh, Lord, it's a baby sneezing. Lord, you know, but you can imagine, you know, how a teacher must feel that they're in a classroom with their babies who want to come and hug Miss Smith and Mr. Johnson and, you know, and all that. But you really, how you tell kids that you can't do that anymore.
Right,
you know,
right.
Keep them at base.
Yeah. I was looking at something last night, and they were kind of joking. I think it was Jimmy Fallon last night, and he was talking to a celebrity about, have you ever had a baby to sneeze in your mouth? You know, like you'll be playing with a baby, and I fell out last night. I said to myself, "Oh my God, I've had that." You know how you be playing with the baby. Or either they'll throw the milk back up and you playing with them or whatever. And
you ain't caught a cold. You got a cold from a baby, okay, or from a kid, you know, about 10 and under. Like, boy, that's a cold for you, right there. So you put COVID, is, you know, even worse. And then, I've seen arguments for both sides. Just when I was very pro remote learning, then I had a good friend of ours share another perspective about, my kid likes to be able to learn with a more collaborative, you know, working in a more collaborative work environment. So I'm like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. So I hate to be selfish. I just say, all I can do is pray for the folks who I know who have these babies who are in the midst of trying to figure out, do I need to go back to work? And, you know, this just brings up a whole thing about being in a capitalistic society, and, you know, and how, you know, it'd be nice if our government, you know, would say, hey, listen, don't everybody even worry about going back to work. We got your rent, we got your mortgage or whatever. It's okay. And we wouldn't have to make these tough decisions like this. But unfortunately, that's not the society we live in. So people have to make tough decisions. Do I send my baby back? Do I ask my job to let me work from home? Do we continue to work from home like we've been doing already? And am I in that kind of position where I can do that? And then I'm like, I'm not equipped to teach my kids. And I'm halfway intelligent. I'm not equipped to teach my kids. I'm not. So imagine how many of us who are degreed, but it's like, I don't know the new math. I don't know, I don't know the history part. I know conjunction junction, and I know Schoolhouse Rock, but I don't know the nuts and bolts of different points in history, you know. So I don't envy people who, you know, have to make those decisions right now.
Well, you know, I just worry about our children becoming victims of a lot of different things. You know, we always hear the story of children that, you know, one kid decides to play with matches and the entire building is burned down. We also hear about, you know, some predator noted the kids in the house, you know, by themselves watching the mom. I mean, you know, just to me, this is just putting a lot of people in harm's way in a lot of different situations. At least when a single mom knows she drops her child off at a school, that child is getting breakfast, lunch, and that child is there 8 hours. You get what I'm saying? Where leaving a kid at home is dicey. And then, you know, as I said on the show earlier this week, somebody was saying to me she had 25 students in her class during this, you know, whole shelter in place. Only 3 of them logged on. Only 3. Several of them that the people had given because they needed to get rent. So, you know, and today I didn't need to be young people a year or so from now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's scary. All right. I mean, and one of my cousins was just, I'm doing a watch party, and they were just saying that they don't even test children 2 and under. So, and those are the ones who obviously can't stay home by themselves, you know, or whatever. And then I do know some teachers who were conducting remote learning and were having those same problems. Yeah, you have a classroom of 30 kids and only 15 of them are joining in, and some of the 15, hey, my mom needs to use the computer later, or it got into the whole thing of making assumptions that, oh, everybody's got Wi-Fi. No, a lot of our people have Wi-Fi on their phones. They don't have laptops, so having to do all that. And then once you give me the laptop, I wasn't paying for Wi-Fi. I was just, so just looking at all the accommodations that might need to be made. And so I think the schools were kind of going in that direction midway through the COVID. But I don't know. I mean, that's a lot of. I wish they would have been spending the past few months, which I'm assuming that they were, but trying to figure out how do you take some key learnings from these past few months in COVID with remote learning, and how do you apply those into best practices and things that you can use for the fall, especially for the elementary school age. I feel like the high schoolers, they can be a little bit more responsible, but yeah, that remote learning wasn't necessary. I mean, there's some parents who were very diligent about keeping up with that, but there were some parents who either because of language barriers or socioeconomical barriers were like, I ain't doing it, So what a horrible position to be in as a teacher, to have to figure out how to still instruct and get your kids to learn certain things when you have to go through the parents a little bit differently. And then for a parent that's I don't even know what I'm doing trying to support my kid in logging on to this computer. I don't even know what this is, So there's so many different variables here.
Yes. Well, another thing before we bring our wonderful next guest on, I'm excited to bring her on, but the infrastructure of a lot of our neighborhoods are bad. If you've not had any new developments in your neighborhood and they put fiber optics down in your neighborhood, your Wi-Fi is going to be dicey. The reason we're having transmission problems now is because even though you may have Wi-Fi, you may be paying these people this $30, $40 a month bill for your Wi-Fi. If there's been no new buildings or no new development in your neighborhood, then how would fiber optics be put in your neighborhood?
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Think about that. So a lot of us have been suffering with bad Wi-Fi anyway. And so the way the Wi-Fi companies make their money is tell you need the faster speed, you need the whatever. But we live in green homes now where everything is based on Wi-Fi. So it's a lot to that. It's a lot. If 3 children are on the Wi-Fi and Big Brother is a gamer, honey, the gamer gonna win out over them kids in the education.
Yeah, that's I hadn't thought about that. I know just even in this home, a lot of South Shore has a lot of older buildings, and Chicago itself has a lot of older buildings. But I'm like, gee, if I'm in my room, the Wi-Fi is in the kitchen midway through the house. So I'm like, oh, well, why am I my calls getting dropped, or my receptivity is not that great, So this is that I hadn't thought about that part about the fiber optics. So that's. I know that somebody at my job is working with the first lady on this whole thing about making the entire city, underserved neighborhoods, and everybody, more, accessible to Wi-Fi and more. What's another word for it? I can't think. But anyway, trying to work on exactly what you just talked about.
Yes. All right. Well, I normally introduce the next guest, but but here's the deal. I'm gonna leave it up to you because I think maybe you've known her since the day she was born.
Yeah.
I think like I'm new to her and I love her already, but you've kind of known her forever, and so I just feel it's only befitting you as the co-host and being her mama that you introduce our next guest. Please tell us who our next guest is.
Well, it is my pleasure not only to be a co-host for tonight's show and to chat with the Chat Daddy, but to welcome my daughter, Dana Parker, who is a recent Howard University School of Communications graduate. She is a budding public relations professional, doing some great things, working on some great programs. She's a strong writer, a strong communicator. Of course, she knows social media a lot better than her mama does, but I'm just proud to welcome a young lady who has pushed through, has very strong faith, has been an spiritual encourager for me a lot of times. My daughter, Dana Parker.
Yay, Dana P.
Hey, Dana.
Hey, that was so nice, Mom.
Hi. Hey, Dana. How are you?
Hey, thank you for having me.
Dana, I know one thing. You have a beautiful smile. You really do. You have a
Thank you
really
so
great
much.
You do.
Thank you.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here with us tonight. I'm excited to hear the millennial opinion. I love it anytime a mom can get her child to talk and we could have a good time. And she even said you would stick around for relationships with us. So
Definitely.
look, I'll probably be blushing during that part, right? Because
you're gonna learn a lot.
Yeah. So Dana, what did your mother not tell us about you that you want the audience to know? You know, she gave you that. It almost was your eulogy, child. It really was. So, God forbid what happened to you. And I know people your age. Yeah, I know people your age like to introduce yourself in a certain manner. So go right ahead.
Well, hello everybody. Like my mom said, my name is Dana. I go by Dane, Dayn. Howard, a 2020 Howard University graduate. I'm trying to think of something else. I am a card-carrying member of the Beehive. I love and I'm trying to think of something else. I don't know. I'm an Aries. I think that's a big part of my personality. And she did a good job. I don't know. That was it.
She did. I pulled the tissue out. I cried a little bit. I was like, wow. I was like, I wonder if she'd ever introduce me like that. Right. That was a birth. Look, that was a birth announcement and eulogy all in one. Oh, it was so touching. It was so
right. Dry those tears.
So listen, Dana, what does COVID-19 mean to you? What does this all mean to you? You belong to that demographic that you want to be out in the streets having a good time. I've seen you all when I've been dining on sidewalk cafes, and I noticed the young people passing cigarettes and no mask on. So what does it mean to you, COVID-19?
Yeah, it's been interesting. As a young person, especially for me, a college graduate, you go 4 years, you went through all this stuff, and it's like there's no graduation. So that, that I'm sure has affected me, and it's definitely affected my my peers, just not being able to graduate. I think as a young person, I am itching to get out. Like, I try to respect the COVID-19 policies, but definitely it's weird. It's somebody said it the other day too. It's Chicago. We only have so many months that we can actually be outside and have a lot of fun. So the fact that our summer has been kind of taken from us is just kind of annoying. But so it is definitely just a weird time. A lot of my peers are going through post-grad depression, and on top of that, we have COVID. So it's a lot of different emotions. So to answer your question, I just feel like COVID-19 is just, we're all in a weird place. And I feel like definitely millennials and Gen Zs, and even, like you guys were talking about earlier, the younger kids, it's just a very odd, weird place amongst other things.
I agree with you 100%. You know what I find so strange? I always look at little children in the grocery store when they had a little mask on, and little children's eyes reveal so many things. And it was a little boy. It was a little boy in the supermarket today, and he just looked petrified with that mask on. I guess he was waiting. It looked like somebody would jump from around the corner with a mask on, almost like he was in a haunted house. And so, Dana, you're right. Like, for little kids, I mean, and Kat, you said it too. This has got to be probably just the craziest time for all of us. And we never thought anything like this would happen. We just Dana, what has it been like back at home with your mama? You thought you was free. You thought you was free. You consider grown now, all of that. You done got your little job and all that.
Right.
And now you're stuck back home with your mama. What's that?
I really, believe it or not, I'm happy to be back home. College was so hard for me, just emotionally. So I was cool coming back home. I think, there's a certain level of security being back home, and just, I pay for a lot of things myself, but also just knowing that I had my mom and my dad to kind of just supplement. But it's weird because my mom and we're not friends, but we are friends, And
I like that.
And I'm grateful that we've been able to kind of we've had our conversations where it's like, okay, I'm 22, so this is, we're mom and daughter, but also I'm 22 years old, and I also
I can't wait to hear what Mama finna say.
So I contribute to the household, so there's a certain level of like, when you pay bills in a place, you have certain rules. Like for there's certain things that I put money towards this too. So I like I said, I'm just grateful for me and my mom's relationship, and we do there. We go to therapy together too, so that has been very helpful because it's kind of been just a shift. We're not. It's not like when I lived in here when I was in high school. I'm a college graduate now, so we've had to kind of work through that through therapy with just that kind of shift of like what this means for our relationship now.
And actually,
that makes me feel so good just to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Not many Black families will say we go to therapy together. Kat, I can't wait to hear your feedback and all of that.
I was going to talk about this a little bit when we talk about relationships, but that's one of the blessings I would say with the COVID, despite this COVID, is that you have a chance to, for my daughter to have come home, thinking it was going to be a temporary solution, but while the COVID was first starting. During that time, first of all, you learn a lot about your kids. My kids are kind of mom's girls, it's always been the three of us. We go on vacations together, we hang out together and things like that. I mean, they have their friends and things, but to be the parent of young adults is a little bit different, and it's kind of like, like Dana was saying, I'm a pretty easygoing mom, and they've been pretty easygoing kids too. But it is a little bit different. When you're now roommates a little bit differently than it was just them coming home. This is a new place that we're living in for all of us. So it's a little bit different. I mean, I never really had major rules for them. Be home by such. They always pretty much did their own thing and were respectful anyway. But getting to know your kid as a young adult with their own experiences as an adult from college, it's totally different. So hearing from a couple of times over this COVID, early in the COVID, the three of us, my other daughter too, Jada, Dana, Jada, and I, we sat down and we had some kind of like hard conversations. Like, oh, I had no idea that y'all felt like that. Oh, I was looking at it from this perspective. Oh, this is how y'all feel. Like, I mean, I can pull the mama card, of course, but I'm the mama. This is how it is. But it's kind of like, oh wow, I do want to be cognizant of you all's feelings about certain things and you all's reactions to certain things. So it kind of, and I'm kind of glad we had those, because to me it set the stage for how the rest of the COVID experience has gone. I mean, we three women live in the house. Every now and then somebody gonna get on somebody's nerves, but it hasn't been a kind of thing like, we don't have what I call, Kardashian fights, and things like that. It's just, we just like, it's been a totally different experience. But it's been one of the best ones. I think it's been maybe one of my favorite times of their lives right now. Therapy has been great. That's something that Dana activated, and of course, old school Black person like me, I'm like, girl, you talk to your friends about these problems. You talk to your cousins or whatever, and it's like, oh, I hadn't given a lot of thought to being in therapy, and so like, oh. And I've learned a lot, because my first thing was like, put the therapist on the phone, because I want to ask her what she, and it's like, oh, okay. So it's been really great to just hear kind of some of Dana's deep emotions, and I've heard them one level, but to hear them under the guidance of a professional has been very helpful too.
Great. Well, Dana, I'm so glad to hear you say that you chip in. I had a young lady come on my radio show one night, and she said she had rented her first apartment. And she said she thought that toilet paper was included in the rent. Oh. She didn't know she had to go out and buy toilet paper. Right. So, look, Dana, I love to hear you say you put a little something on something. You know what I'm saying? Because this young lady said she thought that toilet paper and canned goods and all of that, again, because she had been living at home and living on. Look, honey, we're not gonna judge nobody now. There's a lot of them out here now. I love how y'all over here look, but it's a lot of them out here that don't believe that you got to live an adult life. Do you think, Dana, you ready to have your own apartment and venture out, or do you want a few more years in the nest?
I'm gonna probably stay here for maybe 1 to 2 years. I do think 1 to 2 years is like the cutoff. Honestly, I'm kind of scared to live by myself, but I do want my own space, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I might go from my mom as my roommate to one of my friends as my roommate.
Yeah.
I get
But
that.
probably moving out soon.
Both daughters have already had their own apartments, off campus anyway. So I think that's probably been helpful for Dana. I may have helped support her, ability to get an apartment or whatever in school. But she was responsible for paying for her own rent, and she was responsible for divvying up her own bills. So again, that's one of those things. As a parent, it is kind of cool to have your kids come back home and they're already thinking of, okay, Mom, here's how I can help. I can buy this. I can, they treat me a lot of times, for stuff. I'm like, okay, I appreciate that. So yeah, and I wasn't really asking of that for Dana. Like I would have been fine with her not paying anything and saving up for her car or whatever the things are that she wanted. But I'm happy that she's been acclimated enough to living on her own and being quote unquote independent to know that you can't live nowhere for free, So I'm glad we, we worked out.
Oh, I love it. I do. All right. So the reason why Dana is here tonight, she is a Beehive card-carrying member. She loves and adores all things Beyonce. And so last weekend, trending on social media was Black is King on Disney Plus. And so I got a chance to see some of the excerpts. I've read the reviews. I've not sat down for the entire 90 minutes. But from what I saw from the trailer that I received, I'm going to tell you now, it's the most colorful, most dynamic thing ever. And I really do want to get me a cold glass of sangria, something to eat on 90 minutes straight, watch it. But Dana, I need for you to help us to understand why everybody should watch it this weekend.
Black is King is art. We already talked about all the depression and racial injustices that are going on in our country right now. If you want to just feel good, some positivity right now, you need some positivity, you need to watch Black is King. I think, we can go into further details, but I think the biggest thing for me is that something positive. It's so much negativity going on right now. And it's like, I just wanted something to watch that will make me feel good. It's Black excellence. And more than that, sometimes I hate saying Black excellence. It's art. It's art. It's pure talent. And that just felt so good to watch and ingest. And like I said, it's so much negativity going on right now. Black is King will really help you relax and kind of detach from other things that are going on in the world right now.
Okay, so this is what I can share with you, and then I'm gonna let Kat pop in as well too. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, the colors are mesmerizing.
Yes.
So if you have a HD TV, honey, if you still got a black and white with your I guarantee you that black and white gonna be popping because it's mesmerizing. I want to give a shout out to the young man who played Little Simba. He was outstanding. I can't think of the young man's name, but he played Little Jay-Z. And that young man see? Yes. See, I told you, I haven't seen the whole 90 minutes, but I've done my research. Another thing that we saw in Black is King is a glimpse of the twins. We have not seen Jay-Z and Jay-Z and Beyonce's twins, and we got a glimpse of them in the movie.
Yeah, we finally got to see. It was dedicated. Black is King is dedicated to Sir, the boy twin. But yeah, so we've seen glimpses of them, but we got more access to Rumi and Sir, the twins.
Oh wait, are you chopped up a little bit? Sorry.
A little bit.
Twins now.
How old are the twins now?
They are 3. They 3.
Okay, very good. Blue Ivy had a major role in this. Dana, do you think? Am I breaking up again?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit.
It was okay now.
Okay, do you think that Blue Ivy will follow in her mom's footsteps?
Definitely. Have you seen that video of her? This is a couple years back. She goes to Debbie Allen's dance studio, and it was the performance, her ballet group, they had a performance. Blue Ivy was the star of the show. And they're all having the same outfits, the same, they're doing the same routine. And I don't even think she was in the front because she's really tall. But you could right away, I'm like, who is that little girl? It's Blue Ivy. She's killing it. She stood out right away. Like, she's a star. She really is. I don't know. I don't. She's kind of too young, I think, to tell if she can really sing, but she can definitely dance. She can sing. I mean, she can dance.
And you know what I love more than anything? She's growing into her looks. You know, people wanted to be very critical and very mean, but I think Blue Ivy is growing into her looks. Of course, they've matured her hair, quicker than her age, but that happens when you're in Hollywood like that.
Yeah.
But, I think it's really good. And then, Kat, I'm going to let you talk in just a second, but I also appreciate how Black is King was a major shout out to Black women. I loved it. I thought it was incredible. Kat, what did you think about it?
Well, look, I have, as Dana knows, she's like, Mom, you need to watch it before we go on. I'm like, that's your thing, But Dana, when we were driving from DC to Chicago, we went and cleaned out our apartment, to close out our apartment. And so we listened to a lot of the music from it, right? Some of those songs, Dana? Yeah, so I'm a music lover, I'm a house head, but I love music, steppers and all that stuff. But so some of the music with some of the Afro beats and stuff, I love that. As far as Beyonce is a Virgo, so there's a side of me that's like, I already kind of connect with her on that. I'm not nearly, the fan that Dana is. I haven't been to a concert and things like that, but I think, I love her. I think that I love that she would even take the time to do something like this. And to call it, Black is King, and a nice little play on Lion King and all that too. So this is exactly what was needed, for a time such as this,
Mm-hmm. Dana, when did you first fall in love with Beyonce?
That is such an interesting question. For me, I always tell people I really love Destiny's Child. That is my favorite group of all time. I wish that I was old enough at the time when they ended the group. So it probably had to be there, but I liked all of them in Destiny's Child, like when it was DC3. So I think I was a fan then, but kind of just too young to realize it. For me, for sure, when I was Sealed, I'll never forget. And I'm a late Beehive member, but we were watching the Super Bowl in 2013, and we were in my mom's room, and I was like, "This girl is talented. Like it's undeniable. Like I had to stand. You cannot deny it. The talent. When you watch her, I'm assuming it's what people feel about Michael Jackson. Like it's just like, dang, like she's amazing. And then I started going to concerts. And once you go to that first concert, it's over. Cause you can't. My sister, Jada doesn't even really she didn't like Beyonce like that. We took her to a concert, and it's like you can't even deny that this girl she's it. Like she's just super talented. But definitely, like I said, I've always been a Destiny's Child fan. That's my favorite girl group of all time, and so I love all of them. I love Beyonce, I love Kelly, I love Michelle. So.
Well, I was telling both of you ladies on the phone, I know somebody who grew up not far from Beyonce and knew them when they were all younger before they were famous. Mm-hmm. And I was in the airport one time, and there was a gentleman herding just all kind of luggage. And I mean, people was helping him. It was almost like coming to America. And so, this is when they were really getting to be famous. Of course, they were still in Houston or whatever. And I asked the guy who was handling my bags, I said, my God, who is that traveling like that? And he said, oh, that's, Destiny's Child's luggage handler. And I said, Destiny's Child's luggage handler. And he said, yes, that somebody strictly just handles all of their luggage, making sure that costumes and all of that get there. And it does not even fly on the same flight as them.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's you a baller, baby. You a baller. When some dude is able to send his kids to college off of you being the baggage. Right. Yes. So you know, I think that's so fascinating. And what's so funny is that I really want us all to be at that level. You know what I'm saying? That you could pay somebody just to handle your luggage, you know? Yeah. All right. Well, let me see. Another thing that I thought was just wonderful was the wardrobe, the cinematography, the location she used, the dancing was incredible. Just
Incredible.
the makeup, the set designs, and look, last but not least, the music. I was so mesmerized, you know, from everything else. And so I wonder how many people does it take to put on a Beyonce production?
Ooh,
I have my guesses. A cousin of ours or a friend of the family, he was a background singer for her for Coachella. And I mean, it was a lot. You see how much it's a lot of them, because there was a time, remember when Beyonce only did women? She had her all women band, and she had, you know, women dancers, and that was it, and, you know, background singers. But now she's expanded it even more to men. You know, she has her background singers can be men now, and just, you know, bigger. So I don't know. I know what I like about her, and you mentioned this earlier. Everybody is black. Everybody is black. So, you know, I do appreciate her in making, you know, when she's putting on these productions and making it bigger and grabbing all these people, she's employing black people. Black people are being employed. You can't, from the designers to the hairdressers to, you know, the person who's sewing on, you know, on set, they're all black. So, you know, it's good things.
And I would be willing to bet too, Dana, we were talking about this too. I don't know our cousin's salary, but I don't think it's, you know, I call it, it's not, this ain't no Walmart, you know, type, you know, hourly. You know, these people are making a decent salary.
Yeah, no, I know of several young people who left Chicago to strictly become like personal assistants to famous people, you know, whatever, whether housekeeper, whatever. And they are riding around in Mercedes Benz, you know, nice bank accounts. They get to travel with these people. So yeah, you're right. It's not a minimum wage. It's really a career. And then here's the deal. If you were told that you get to work alongside Beyonce every day, you'd act right too. You know what I'm saying? You'd
right.
You'd be there.
Okay.
You would be so tickled to work alongside Beyonce every day, you wouldn't know what to do. So, you know, shout out to her and Jay-Z. And really, they are doing the doggone thing. Jay-Z looked great in it and all of that. So we want to encourage everybody. If you've not seen it yet, it's Black is King. I'm swing back to you in just a second on Disney.
I'm gonna go see it. I gotta see it.
Oh well, okay. I thought maybe you was gonna add. I'm gonna let add something too. But do it this weekend with your family, you guys. It's family friendly. It's some of the best cinematography you've ever seen. Just breathtaking in so many ways. And I had to get a Beehive fan member to legitify what I was saying, since I haven't seen the whole film. Dana, what do you want them to take away from it? Your encouraging words would be?
I would definitely say it's on Disney Plus, and at first I was wondering why, but I would say that kids need to see this. Young Black kids. I think, you know, for me, I'm a Beehive member. I was gonna watch it anyway. I was gonna support it anyway. But for Black kids, this Black is King is, to me, really important. So, because I don't think we've ever been taught that we're royalty, and not wealth, royalty. There's a difference. And so I'm grateful. I never really grew up with self-esteem issues of my, you know, skin color and stuff like that. But I think for Black children, that is very important to teach them and to kind of ingrain in them that your royalty, Black is King, you know. So definitely I would encourage young children to watch it, or for people to have their young children watch it. And I see why she did end up putting it on Disney Plus.
Very good. All right, Kat, you want to add something to that?
No, I just, you know, ditto. And I think, you know, when you talk about, you know, kids going back to school and things like that, you know, or going back to remote virtual learning, this probably is a great way to kick off the back to school season, is, you know, with watching something like this, you know.
All right, very good. Well, hold tight, ladies. I need to pause for the cause for just a second. For those of you all that are just joining us, welcome to the Thursday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy. I'm here Monday through Thursday night from 7 until 8:30, 9 o'clock. We ain't got nowhere to go. We should be in the house, right? We should be in the house.
Right.
We are a reality entertainment news show. We appreciate you guys joining us this evening. Today is my Friday, but when I come back, I'll actually be back on Tuesday. I won't be here Monday night. I do have something I have to do on Monday evening. But when I come back on Tuesday night, Dr. Janet Seabrook will be joining us. As you guys all know, she's a family medicine practitioner. And Dr. Janet Seabrook has been giving us updates on the COVID-19 situation. I will also talk about a doctor's opinion of whether you should send your children back to school or not. And so make sure you tune in for the medical advice, as well as any parents who are on the fence about what to do with your children this school season. Dr. Janet Seabrook will talk about that. And then we also welcome to the show an iconic figure. This gentleman worked for the Walt Disney Company for over 25 years. And right now, a lot of people's careers are in turmoil. A lot of people don't know if they're going to be able to go back to the career that they were once in. And so this gentleman is going to be here with us on Tuesday night to talk about the power of reinventing yourself. You know, Disney is the happiest place on earth. Everybody who works at Walt Disney, baby, they like this. They like it. And so he's going to talk about how you take and translate that into something else, even in hard times. So make sure you guys come back and join me on Tuesday night. Two amazing guests. Don't forget, the entire month of August on the show is all about health, wellness, and fitness. And these two guests on Tuesday will help get your mental and physical well-being together. All right, so tonight my wonderful guest co-host is a cat about town. We'll talk a little bit about how you guys can find out more about her being about town. Right now, she more in the house, laying up on the
Yes, cat about the house.
Look, I went in someplace today, and you know how I love to wear my fabulous jackets to the black tie dinners we go to. And boy, these people had a jacket on clearance, and I said, Lord, I ain't even got nowhere to wear that jacket. I said, but I'm gonna get it. So whenever, right. So it might be 2023 when I wear this jacket. Right. It may not even be in style then, but baby, I'm gonna kill it when I walk into our first black tie dinner in 2020. I'm gonna kill it.
That's right. Dana knows how I am. I love to shop, and I of course have not been doing as much since we've been on COVID, but I got a couple of pieces. Like, where are you wearing that to? I don't know, but I'm going to be ready. I don't believe in getting ready. I believe in being ready. So,
right. Look, I'm going to pack it away in tissue. Ain't that how grandma used to do? Pack it away in tissue, and I'm going to put it in mothballs, and I'm going to slap it under my bed. And then in 2023, when we get an invite to a black tie dinner, I'm going to be like,
yes.
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm. And then also our new co-host is our millennial, Miss Dana P. And we just love and adore her. And so last part of the show tonight, are you ladies having fun tonight, first of all?
Of course.
Yes.
Yay. Thank you. So ladies, our last part is about relationships. How have you all been faring during this? Have you had callers or suitors, or I don't know if mom and daughter reveal that or not. So if that's the case, and look, y'all can ask me the embarrassing questions, and I'll feel free. Look, I'm not going back into booty call season until we are at level 6 of this. You understand?
Until
right. Yes, but here's the deal. Like the governor come on TV and be like, we're at level 3 now, but it's so dangerous you're going back to level 2. He never mentioned a level 6, but I'm gonna write him a letter and say, listen, governor, we need to have a booty call season when this is over. Because right now, booty call season.
Aren't people doing that already? They still doing those. Like, they're still doing it anyway.
You lying. People still hooking up.
Look, all right.
I wouldn't know. I was just saying,
Right. This is what you heard.
Right. That's what I heard.
That's what you heard. See, I would imagine, Dana, that your age group, to you all, you know, but see, somebody like me with a few little of them things on that check mark of a pre-existing condition, you know, my boo thing might have to come over on the bus, and you know, I ain't trusting that. Then, you know, then my boo thing, I'm gonna have to douse them in Lysol when they get here and strip them butt naked and take them to the shower. So, you know, you 20 somethings, y'all be like, yeah, I like it like that. With me, oh, you gonna come over here in a hazmat suit. So man, Kat, I mean, what you think about this?
I definitely think people my age aren't caring. And I'm kind of like, we're in quarantine. We're supposed to be in quarantine. It's not that. But people my age definitely don't care. I'll say that. They're down for whatever, whenever, with whoever, especially right now, because they're bored, you know.
Right, so. Right.
Yeah, Art, I think because of my you know, family and friends my age. I mean, I know some relatives that may or may not be tuned in as we speak, so the name shall remain. Oh, but I know some family members that have been getting it in quite well. Yeah. So they took a minute to kind of, you know, observe some social distancing and some quarantining, but once they kind of got comfortable, once they put that toe in the water, then they just went on and dive right on it.
It be my luck that we have just had the best sex ever, and then you sneeze.
Because that could throw the whole thing off.
It be just my luck. Best sex ever.
And
I
then
took your temperature while we having sex and everything. And you sneeze after we get done. I would lose my mind. I would just lose my mind.
Well, look, that could be someone's reaction to maybe the enjoyment and the experience that they had, that they could be a sneezer. I don't know.
I instantly think COVID. That's right.
Shut down.
Right.
Yeah. You know, we were talking about, you know, just talking about relationships anyway, and Dana and I know we've been listening to and reading Michael Todd, a pastor out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, where my dad is from. I think my dad is on right now too. But he has a book out called, he has a book out called Relationship Goals, and it just talks about, obviously, you know, getting your relationship together with God first, and then, you know, and letting it direct your relationship with romantic interests, family, business partners, co-workers, or whatever. And I took this time to say, you know what? I mean, I'm saying this, and my guy is, you know, long distance or whatever. But I said I'm going. I'm taking a vow of abstinence.
Yeah,
that's it. That's it. I mean, you know, it's just till marriage. That's it. You know, like, and of course my kids will say like, "Oh, you're still having sex?" Like, that's a whole other story. But again, I'm taking a vow of abstinence.
So wait a minute. So now you taking this vow of abstinence, is it because of COVID, or is it because you trying to pressure dude to put that ring on that? Right. Dana, am I helping this, Dana? Right.
When I asked her when she told me this, I said, "Are you doing it?" I feel like, because I'm abstinent too. It's abstinence. Mm-hmm. I'm abstinence too, but to me, it's easy to be abstinent right now because nothing's happening. Your man is, you know, somewhere else. You know, if you don't have stuff, it's easy to be abstinent when nothing's being thrown at you. You know, like if he was here, or, you know, if I had guys, you know, knocking down my door or whatever, you know, it might be a different discussion. But I feel like sometimes it's a very tricky thing, because I feel like if it's not in your face, oh yeah, I'm abstinent. All right, you know, actively abstinent.
Yeah, right. I mean, you know, now more than ever, people need to learn to discover who they are, what you really want from a situation. If nothing else, this has brought old-fashioned romance back to the forefront. Writing letters, talking on the telephone for hours. I really do feel like I'm in high school again with my friend, you know, because, you know, now more than ever, because really, I think, you know, before I go to have sex again, we're going to have to take the COVID test. Then we're going to have to take the STD test, and then we're gonna have to also take a little mental test. You know what I'm saying? Right. You done been by yourself for so long. Here's the deal. Do you still want to spend the night anymore, or do you want to go back and get in your bed? I mean, so, and that's another thing you got to look at. If you've not had this person in your house a lot, here's the bed you sleep in, the sheet you sleep on, all of that. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I was just saying too, to one of my friends, we're to just talk about this too, and it's like, I don't really, not to be a Debbie Downer, but like, I'm not really in the mood right now. Like, I just feel like it's a lot going on. It's, you got COVID over here, you got this over here, and it's like, I just don't really feel, I don't want to have sex right now. Like, it's everybody's mind, I feel like, but I feel right now, it's for me at least, and I know, like I said, a couple of my friends, it's in the back. I'm not even thinking about that right now. People are dying, I don't care about right now.
And I can't say the same. I mean, and that good question about, being abstinent because my guy's not here. Yeah, but even when I was with him last month, I just kind of started thinking like, you know what? It's just, there's a lot going on right now. And I think this is a good time to kind of say, you know what, God, I think that it's not what I want to do. I promise you, I am the most sexual person that, that I know, but this is a good time. I hate that, but this is a good time to kind of say, you know what, I'm looking further down the road and seeing some things that might be in my future with this guy, but also just, some blessings and some things that I think I have, kind of coming up. And I just don't want to be the Eve in the relationship that my desires and things like that are. I don't want those to be the things that end up dampening or pushing back some things that I think are promised to me. But like I said, it is easier said right now because of the situation. I don't know how easy it's going to be later this month, when I see him or, things like that. But I think we're both kind of, committed to
full body condom, right?
But I think we're both kind of committed to, trying at least try. I just, what it is. Different times call for different actions, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna try something different on this.
Right. No, I'm with you. As I tell people, when this first started, especially if you're single and maybe have a couple of boo things or a couple of part-time booty calls, not quite a full person to say that's my boo thing. When this first happened, I was a little apprehensive, like, oh my God, I need to hunker down in place with somebody. But then once I got, into this and found out, listen, if you clean out a closet, if you clean out a desk drawer, if you just clean out your spice cabinet in your house, play some music, this was a great time to redevelop my love for myself. And I think that's what a lot of people, Dana, I love what you're saying at your age about, look, right now, it's too much going on. And I think this is a perfect time. I was telling a friend of mine today, like, I want to donate so much to charity right now. You need to have that time to be able to get together and donate. And, so I don't know. I don't feel bad about right now as far as, a sexual escapade,
Yeah. But you know what, too, Art, I will say this too, and this might, I don't know how much time we may have on this topic.
We got time.
We have time. Well, Dana and Jada and I talk about, just even and Dana, what are you guys? You're not millennials. What are you guys? Generation?
Technically, we're Gen Z.
Gen Z.
Okay.
But that generation, and just even how they even would go about getting into or being positioned for relationships. We as we jog on the lake and stuff like that. I'm old school, so of course, in Chicago, I feel like this is the city. I don't care how you look. Somebody gonna holler at you. Hey, beautiful, how you doing? And I relish that. I love it. You don't break stride. You keep on walking. But hey, beautiful, thank you. And keep on moving. Whereas this generation is more like, you don't have the right to just be talking to me and wanting to take up my time and have and shouting out things to me. I'm like, that's the Chicago way. People get out and say, hey, Slim, yo, Slim, how you doing? But this generation has a different thought process, and I admire that on one end. That I think that they are kind of like they look at what their deal breakers are and they say, hey, when I see signs of those deal breakers kind of coming up, I'm gonna go ahead and nip it in the bud. Whereas I think our generation is like, oh, you know, maybe I'm being too picky, or oh, let me kind of have some bend, but maybe had I been more like they were, you know, in the 20s, you might like, oh, maybe I would have done some things a little bit differently. But it's a totally different approach to relationships.
Very much so. Because see, you have to realize Dana is living in an era of swipe left, swipe right, swipe left, swipe right. You got to realize, at my age, I used to have to go out to a club to meet somebody. You know, I'd have to schedule a date, meet them, hope they would show up. When they get there, you know, look, Dana can go on her phone right now and be like, I'll swipe left, swipe right. You know,
my generation definitely is a lot more. Like you said, we're choosy, I guess. You know, I don't have to deal with certain things. I'm not going to deal with certain things. Not that, you know, you guys, I feel like, well, specifically my mom may have put up with certain things, but we're just more of a individualistic, I guess, generation where it's like, I know what I want, I deserve it, I'm gonna get it, and I don't have to put up with anything else, you know, above it. And I don't know if that's right or wrong. I don't know, but I do feel like when it comes to relationships, we are a lot more, and that's just not just romantic. That's with anything. Anybody, we're not the generation that's gonna put up with anything. And you know, you see that with us, with the government, we're not putting up with nothing. You know, we don't like to change it. You know, so.
Well, the one thing I love about your generation is you guys are very liberal. You love all people. You don't care if it's black, white, gay, straight, polka dot, whatever it is. You all are embracing of everybody. Because I guess Candy Burris's oldest daughter, it was recently reported that I guess she's with a guy who might be biracial, or he might, you know, be white. And, you know, some people's like, gone, girl. You know, what do you feel, Dana, about interracial relationships?
I'm all for it. My first boyfriend was Mexican. So that was my first experience, you know, with a lot of stuff. So I definitely, I'm all for it. I have dated a lot of black men in the past, but I think I'm definitely now more
a lot. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, anyway, I am open. My friends and I just had a conversation recently. We're open. I'm open to dating interracial, a white man specifically. So yeah, I'm all for it. Like you said, I do think we're more liberal, more accepting, more open to a lot more stuff. And so yeah, I would agree. I think that's valid.
And see, Kat, I'm not going to put your age out there, but I know back, you know, my age, you come home with somebody of another color, you'd be considered the different one in the family, or
bring them home if you can't use your comb.
Right, the way out one, all of that. And so it's just amazing that to see, you know, our children now being like, look, whatever makes me happy and all of that kind of stuff. Kat, did you give her any particular dating advice as a mom? Of course, you know, be a lady, you know, that type of stuff. But did you, anything from your past, did you try to pass it on to her, whether right or wrong?
I think not so much when they were in high school, although I tell everybody I have one daughter who looks like me, which is Dana, and I have another one that acts like me, which is Jada. And so, you know, Dana has always been close to me. I mean, Dana and her boyfriend at the time came and confided in me that they were, you know, thinking about taking their relationship to the next level. And I was like, oh, geez, they're telling me this, you know, but at the I recall it very vividly. Yes. I mean, you know, y'all ain't
it's very traumatic, baby. It's real traumatic. Whether you know it or not, it's traumatic for a day uncle, a daddy, anybody. We appreciate y'all bringing it to us. But honey, it's traumatic behind the scenes. I digress.
And I think my advice at the time was just more like, you know, obviously when you're talking about moving in that direction, that it just changes everything. And not so much for the worse, but there's a soul tie that's going to always, you know, be there, that, you know, it's going to take a while to kind of, you know, get that out of you, so to speak. But I don't know that I ever really shared any advice. Because I mean, I was married, you know, to their dad for a long time. I think now that I'm divorced, I think and they've gotten older, we've probably shared just different perspectives about things. But I don't know that I ever had to tell them about being a lady and things like that. It's kind of like, you know, I don't know that I ever recall doing that, Dana. Did I? I don't know.
There was not necessarily anything like being a lady. I remember you told me a story about you were telling us about like STDs and stuff like that. So that when I think about stuff like that, it was in my mind as I went out, you know, did whatever I did. That was always in the back of my mind, and just kind of being careful about stuff like that. But yeah.
Oh, I love it. I do. You ladies have any questions of me about relationships or men, or you know, I mean, you know.
I'm trying to think.
What did we see in the near and the distant future for Chat Daddy when it comes? Will the Chat Daddy be settling down soon?
You know what? That's so interesting. I would love to do that. I would. I think that I need to find me a soulmate, though. I'm a Scorpio. So So it's easy to find boo things. It's easy to find people to have fun with. But I think I'm in search of a soulmate at this particular point in my life. I want to now go to another level in my being. You know, like I love what Stedman and Oprah have. You get what I'm saying?
I was just about to ask, are you interested in marriage? Some people don't like to get married.
Oh, interesting. And we could talk about that. Here's the deal. I mean, I would want to get married to be able to provide the person with, you know, benefits of being a part of me, my legacy, you know, any royalty, any of those type of things. I want them to be able to live a great life, or at least be a part of that. As far as do I absolutely need to be married? Not necessarily. If you and I have a great commitment, I'd be okay. Because I know that in your age group, marriage is almost obsolete now.
But yeah, I want to get married, but I know for people, that's why I asked, because a lot of people feel like, what is marriage? And I, as a Christian, you know, I go back and forth with that, because it's like, well, what does it even mean anyway? You know? But yeah, that it's interesting, because to your point, I think a lot of people would rather have the bond, you know, and without the official title. But then sometimes I feel like, you know, that marriage bond and that spiritual, you know, covenant under God is like great too. So I don't know.
Yeah, you know, Kat?
I said I would vote for that too. I mean, having been married before, my ex-husband and we would always joke. I mean, my boyfriends in high school, we would say, Trina's always wanted to be a wife. I've always, I like being with one person, and I like that. And because I'm such a friendly person sometimes, and I know sometimes people can misconstrue that as being flirtatious, but I'm really not. I'm just friendly. So it's kind of like, I kind of like the covering of, oh, I'm married, you know, like, so there's the, I'm just being nice. So, you know, there's no misunderstanding with that. But I would get married again. I mean, having been married before, I would definitely like to let this be my second and last marriage, you know?
Right. Yeah, I get it. I understand. Most people who have been married before, whether the marriage was good or bad, if they are people who really wanted to be in a marriage, they will get married again. You know, so I think that's just a good thing. I think just the pool of people to select from in this day and age may be everybody's biggest problem. Yeah. And see, Dana, that's what makes me worry. You're a young lady and saying the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, and here's the deal. It's no different in the LGBTQ plus community. It's just a small pool of people out here that believe in love, you know?
It's very, I don't want to say scary, but I do sometimes, and I'm only 22, but sometimes I really think about, like, dang, what if I won't get married? You know, what if I'll never get married? I'll never find that person. I think the pool is very, very, very small. And I, you know, and if it's not one thing, it's another, you know, or, you know, you like somebody, but they don't do this, or, you know, like it's getting smaller and smaller. So I do. And a lot of people too don't like being monogamous. So that's another. So like with somebody and it's like, oh, well, he's with this person too, or, you know, he's on this. So I would be lying if I said, you know, it's definitely, and like I said, I'm only 22, but I think about that often, like, am I about to be alone for the rest of my life? You know, like, will I ever find somebody? Will I ever, you know, have a family and stuff like that? So,
Isn't that art? Don't you find that kind of odd? Because I guess I feel like as a 22-year-old out of college coming back to Chicago, of course I was dating her dad already, but we were probably about to get married. But like Chicago was like, oh, shit, I know I'm about to meet me somebody in Chicago. Like ain't no, baby, I'm about to be dating and everything, you know. So it's so odd that with this generation that like, geez, you know, beautiful girls, you know, college educated and you know got their smarts about themselves, fun and all that. But it's like, wow. I don't know who your pool of viable candidates are for taking on a date. You know, like that. This is just unheard of that my daughter would be in the city of Chicago in the summertime and ain't out kicking it. You know, like not because of COVID, but like wow, like it should be people lining up. You know, because that's just the way to me Chicago is, and it's just a little interesting to me to see that like it's not like that. You know.
Kat, keep in mind, you know, back when you and I were hanging out and coming out of school and people, we were talking about Love Jones. Mm-hmm. We were speaking in the terms of poetry. We were speaking in the terms of our music being more loving. You know, it was a time when getting married was what you did to make your mother and father happy, having that big wedding, inviting all the family and people. And we've gotten away from that. We've gotten away from those values, those morals. We've gotten away from, you know, just a lot of different things. Nowadays, our music really does not suggest, do you want to fall in love? Do you want to bless me? Do you want to, you know, I was listening to some music, some trap music the other day. And as much as I like what the trap music was saying, I'm like, damn, have we come to that now? You know, have we? Is that how we communicate our sexual feelings to each other? I just couldn't even believe it. You know, yes, Dana.
I was gonna say, I think it's even, you know, more than that. People don't keep their word. My mom knows I've had multiple suitors, you know, during this COVID thing. Hey, I want to take you on a date. Let's go here. The day of, nothing. So for me, it goes even deeper than just, you know, the love for something. It's your word. Word is bond. You say somewhere, where are you? You know what I'm saying? And I guess that kind of ties into loyalty. Like nobody really, this generation, and just I feel like this time, everybody's worried about themselves. And so you can't follow up. You can't, you know, say what you said you were gonna do.
Yeah.
No, I don't want any parts. I don't want no parts.
And sadly, I think too, Art, that thing, something that you said, I think that what that means is nobody's really teaching anybody. Like, I mean, like, I would say I didn't necessarily teach Dana anything. I mean, I don't know that her dad, that we sat down and taught our kids this. I think they probably patterned themselves after what they saw in the house, you know, good or bad. A lot of other kids are probably like, hey, I didn't have a dad in the house, so I don't even know how you supposed to go about trying to holler at a girl. You know, did somebody sit me down and say, hey, young man, I'm going to say something on this one too. I think it all started, and Dana knows I say this all the time. I saw things changing, I think in the 6th grade, Dana went to Skinner school, and they had a big dance. And you know how you think, you know, back in the day, you know, you having a dance, you know, everybody, girls got their hair done and their outfits or whatever. And when they came back, I said, oh, did any of the boys, you know, ask you to dance? Everybody started dancing in a circle in the crowd. And I'm like, there you go. I said, once young men lost the gumption of having to get like, I like Dana, I sit behind her in class.
I wouldn't say that. I think that's an unfair accusation against my generation, because what the parents didn't know, Art, is that when we had like juke parties in the 7th grade, boys had to come and grab you, you know, and ask you, can you come dance with me? So that was, and some guys would get turned down. I'm not gonna juke on you, you know. So I think that they did have, I don't know courting, but they did have to speak up, you know. Follow through. They don't like to follow through. That I think is the issue, not the getting the nerve to come up and talk to a girl. It's just like, I don't feel like it. You know, no, they're very lazy. And they're gonna, you know, follow through with what they said they were going to do or attempted to do.
Right. I agree with you. First of all, young men, old men, men in general are very reserved, shy. They may approach you but they also are trying to figure out what you're gonna say, what you're gonna do, how you gonna act, and you know, and they pretty much sum a woman up. But you right, the juke parties, I do know about those, but then I'm kind of like your mom, Kat. I even look at wedding receptions now. Get up. I mean, this is pre-COVID. Get up and dance, and you know, the one form of dancing that I love is stepping. Right. It's very romantic. It's very rhythm flow, that type of thing. But now that we have COVID, I'm worried about people stepping again with each other.
Yeah.
You ain't finna be cheek to cheek with too many people in a club. Right. And so the art of dancing is getting ready to be lost again, because at every wedding reception, what do you see everybody get up and dance to?
The line dance.
A line dance. A line dance. Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to go with the clear mask. I think that's gonna be step one, is going with the clear mask, and then being able to kind of, you know, kind of adjust from there. But I don't think any of that will be happening before 2021. You know?
No,
and now because the loss of dance and other, you know, engagement has been lost, we're out of luck. I'm never gonna find
Look, Dana, your Uncle Art gonna help you. Right, man. I feel so bad now, but I agree. I'm in the same boat. Look, Dana, we're gonna have to find a club, and I'm gonna have to put on one of my young outfits and be your wingman. Because I agree. It's you right. It's a problem out here. That's sad that here we are. I'm at my age and you at your age, and we both saying
same.
You know, it's sad. It's really sad. It really is. Ladies, you both have just been outstanding. Everybody, oh my God, people just love you all. Look, they putting comments up here.
Thanks.
They're thinking that this is just so great. It really is. Both of you all have just done an outstanding job this evening. I just got some Scorpio love shout out here.
Yeah.
Dana, in closing, my darling, what do you want everybody to know? Give your closing thoughts, your farewell. If you want to tell people who you are, any of that good stuff, go right ahead.
Well, thank you everybody again for listening and tuning in. You can follow me on Instagram at Smile It's Dane. Smile It's DAYN on Instagram. I love food, so I'm a foodie. So I post a lot of food and restaurants, even still in quarantine. So you can follow me there. And yeah, I'll look out. I'll be doing a community service project that'll be coming up soon. So stay tuned.
I'm looking forward to it. And look, me, you, your mommy, and if your other sister, we got to do us a quarantine lunch. We got to. Since I know you're because I've been trying to support Black-owned restaurants through this period, as well as other races and cultures of food. And so we'll have to make us a lunch date and go do some social distancing lunch.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, very good. Kat, darling, what would you like everybody to know, my dear?
You know what? Stay positive. Stay connected to a higher source, because I think, you know, getting through this pandemic, we're probably barely halfway through it, and there's more to come. But I think, you know, if we can kind of keep that first connection up, and then let that connection flow into our other horizontal connections, I think we'll look back on this and say, wow, we got through it. But check on your friends, check on your loved ones, because you know, people are going through as they try to get through.
Yes, they are. They are. Well, ladies, you both have been amazing tonight. I hope you'll come back and hang out with me again while we're doing this Shutter in Place. I do. Both of you all have just been incredible tonight. Great show. Let me put some more comments up here. Everybody is saying the mother and daughter duo was great. You guys were. You did a great job. You really did. Yes, you did. Yeah, both of you. And I just think it's so important that mothers and daughters are so transparent. No, chat, they don't want no chicken heads. Look, I don't know chicken heads, chicken thighs, chicken gizzards. Yeah, look, I need some USDA choice at this particular time. Right. No offense, but I've done the chicken. Right. I ain't gonna choke another chicken. How about that? With that being said, that brings us to the close of another Real Chat Daddy show. On behalf of Dana P. Yay! Her wonderful mother, a cat about town. We just love her as well too. Do me a favor, you guys, before you log off tonight, go over to YouTube, subscribe to the Real Chat Daddy Show over there. Hit the button. It's free. I will not mail you magazines every month. I will not be knocking at your door on Saturday talking about, do you believe Chat Daddy? I don't do any of that. I just present a free entertaining show Monday through Thursday night from 7 to whenever we get done. But it's a lot of fun and you'll walk away with a lot of great information. For more information about yours truly, why don't you go over to my website at therealchatdaddy.com, therealchatdaddy.com. Do me a favor, Dana, tell the Rudds I say hello. I love them. I do.
I will.
Yes, I do. And they have a Southside agency, and that's what I like about them.
Yes, they do.
Right, resources.
That's right. I love them to no end. Ladies, God bless you. Have a great weekend. I look forward to having you over. Oh, this was fun. It really was. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure. It's my Friday, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll be back next Tuesday night. I won't be here Monday because I have something I have to do on Monday night, but I'll be back Tuesday night to give you another great show and a lot of fun. Thank you guys so very much. And we're going to ladies, hold tight. Keep waving. Yay. All right. Yeah, that's how you do that on